Hello, everyone. I'm Mario Florio. Welcome back to a Food Podcast, the place you can come to hear all about the great things happening on the local food scene, the wonderful restaurants we have, the great companies making delicious food products, and the fun community events that highlight local food. Joining me now are Marie and Dave Schaller from Chocolate Delicacy. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
So we'll start with you, Marie. You guys are, first of all, tell us about your business, your company, where you're located, how long you've been around, all that good stuff.
We've been around for 30 years. We're celebrating that this year. In that time, we've moved twice from our original location. We were in East Greenwich. Now we're at 28 Gilbane Street in Warwick. And we've been there for about 7 years, and we love the move. Our store name is The Chocolate Delicacy. And we make our chocolates right on the premises, and Dave makes over 100 different kinds.
Wow. So tell us about the process of making chocolate, Dave.
The process of making chocolate, well, it starts with great ingredients. So the secret ingredient is usually either butter or heavy cream. So that makes a great candy. So we never skimp on the quality of the ingredients, and you know, the chocolate that we use, we've selected because we like it ourselves. You know, it's kind of like you like the artist because Picasso and Michelangelo are great artists, but they're different. So we have chocolates that we think are great because it's what we like to eat, and that's what we like to sell.
Nice. And what makes, like you said, you have 100 different types of chocolate. So how do you make them different from one another? Like, what are the different characteristics that?
You know, we start with a chocolate coating that we particularly enjoy, and we've checked out a lot of fine chocolates, and they're refined worldwide from different parts of the world, and there's some great chocolate out there, but we use a Belgian chocolate now, and it's reliable and it's consistent, and it works well with my equipment. I built a lot of my equipment from scratch, and we use some of the industry standard equipment in making the candies that we have. But you know, we have to be consistent, and that's one of the first steps. So I try not to eat more than a half a pound a day. When I go over that, I get a little chubby, but if I cut back a little bit, I can do it. But you know, I make a great caramel. The fudge I enjoy eating, so I have to like eating it. That's just it. You have to start with great products and make something that's going to look and taste great when we're done.
Yeah, because you never want to sell a product that you wouldn't want to eat yourself, right?
That's absolutely correct.
But I also think that what we do is we listen to our customers, and we have gone to so many different candy stores, and we've developed our base of the items that we make by looking at other people, asking questions, and we always listen to our customers. So like in most candy stores, we have a variety of creams, soft center chocolates, and then there are the people that only like chocolate and nuts. There are the people that are wild about caramel. Truffles, melt in your mouth caramel. Truffles, those are what got us into the business 30 years ago when I signed David up for a class at RISD. One day candy making class turned into our business, plus a huge amount of hard work.
Wow, I love to hear stories like that. Oh, you went to a candy making class and decided, wow, I'm going to make a living and career out of this. Huh?
And you know, the funny thing was I left, we learned truffles, peanut brittle, molded chocolate, shell molding, giandujas. And after that, I took some to my parents, and my father called me up. He said, "Did you make that?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "You made that?" And I said, "Yes." He goes, "It was really good."
And his dad after that was one of our top cheerleaders, and he's always willing to taste test, of course. But he also gave us some capital when we needed that, and he was there. He was there for us, and it was great.
Yeah, it's great to have that support, of course.
Family business is important.
Yes. Tell us, you have to enjoy the process of making the chocolate.
I do like making the chocolates. You know, some days the machines in the candy maker don't get along, but most of the time everything runs properly. But now and then you get the gremlins or you know, the elves in the equipment, and it doesn't quite work. But most of the time it's nice. And you know, the best part is we know our customers, and we've had some of those customers for as long as we've been in business. And that's a nice community because they all want to see us and get our candies, and that's where we like to be.
So. That's a testament to how great you are. Is there a particular type that you like creating more than others?
You know, I make a great caramel, and we use the caramel in the pecan and cashew patties, and the sea salt caramels, and the caramel pretzel rods. And every now and then a customer will come in and say, "I wish you could make this," and whatever it is. Sometimes we try it, and sometimes they become a tremendously popular piece, such as our caramel pretzel rods that are chocolate coated. That's a great piece of chocolate.
The only way we disappoint people with our caramels is that our caramel, well, chewy, it's a little bit too soft to sell just a straight caramel that's not covered in chocolate. So what would happen is if we did that, it would kind of slump out. So we can't sell just straight caramel with our recipe.
Yeah, so it has to be covered in chocolate.
Covered in something to keep it the right shape.
What would you say are some of your most popular or most requested chocolates that you make?
Well, I would say sea salt caramels are number one. Then, just believe it or not, a box of 28 pieces of our assorted chocolates, because people like variety, you know. As a matter of fact, it sounds, I know, cliched or whatever, but last night I was watching Forrest Gump, and life is like a box of chocolates, because variety is really nice, you know.
Yeah.
So everybody, they like everything. That is actually statistically the number 2 thing that we sell.
Well, they say variety is the spice of life, so I'm
Yes.
sure you guys fit the bill with that. Now, as we're recording this, National Fudge Day is falling in the month of June, and I know you have some fudge varieties that you make. Tell us about those.
We are not just a fudge shop, so we sell many, many kinds of candy. Of utmost importance to us is making sure that everything is fresh. So we're not a store, I'll tell you what we're not first, we're not a store that sells 30 kinds of fudge, because then they would all be stale. Our fudge is fresh. We make chocolate with and without walnuts. We make penuche with and without pecans. And we make straight peanut butter and chocolate. With our fudge, we pour it into half-pound containers, and then we tie it we put it in a airtight bag, so that way there's no touching, and it has the best shelf life it can have, which is important to us.
Because we use no preservatives in our candies.
That's great. That's great. Now, is fudge kind of a different creature when you're making it, other than other types of chocolates?
You know, fudge is actually pretty easy to make. It's a basic set of ingredients: heavy cream, butter, sugar. And I often tell people that butter is the secret ingredient for so many candies, because it's expensive, but you can't substitute the taste. So fudge is simple. Caramel is similar, but actually takes about 3 times as long to cook. But again, they're siblings. The sugar ratios are just reversed, but they're a great tasting piece, because you have something called a Maillard reaction, which is the proteins in the milk react with the sugars to give it that caramel flavor, and that's what makes caramel brown and tastes great.
And Dave is modest about how it's simple to put together, but on times when he hasn't been paying attention and he's a degree or 2 off, it turns into a brick. Yeah. So it's really important to get your temperature right. And I was interviewing him last night for our interview today, and I didn't know this, but each of the kinds of fudge have slightly different degrees, and over time he's honed that down. So it's between 236
and 242.
So there's a range, yeah. And we like our fudge a little softer.
Yeah, so it really is kind of a science to it, even though it's kind of an art as well, huh?
You know, it is, and I will give this to many of the other artisan candy makers out there in New England. We're friends with most of them, and every one of those craftsmen makes a product that they personally enjoy. And each store is unique in their presentation, their taste, and their quality is always outstanding. And so when people come into our store, they say, "This smells wonderful in here." And I can honestly say, I don't really smell it anymore. But when I do smell that chocolate is when I walk into somebody else's candy store, because they're using different recipes and different combinations, and they get a different, and those stores smell great.
Yeah, isn't that interesting that you don't smell it your own, but then you can smell it elsewhere? And you brought up an interesting point before we started, Marie, that you feel like June was chosen for National Fudge Day because this time of year fudge kind of holds up better?
Oh yeah, it holds up a lot better. As a matter of fact, every time in May, we have to shift gears because people want chocolate shipped all over the country, and it's not going to ship to some place where there's a heat dome of 110, something like that, but I get these requests. So I would recommend fudge, because even if it gets a little soft in the heat, it can solidify up again and it does not get damaged. Regular chocolates would turn all white, they would stick all to the candy cups and be terrible. So you might as well enjoy summer and have summer appropriate chocolates like fudge or fruit slices or something like that.
Yeah. All right. So of course I can't do this interview without doing some taste testing on my own. So
Okay.
this is the what? The chocolate peanut butter.
Sure.
Tell me about this. It's just a combination of chocolate and peanut butter.
So it's just a combination of chocolate and peanut butter. He pours half and half into the container, and that way you can make up your own ratio for perfect cutting. And it is pretty soft. The fudge you're eating, Mario, was just made last night, so it's a little on the soft side. It will firm up a little bit. We wanted to make everything. It turned out people had been buying fudge for Father's Day, so we were pretty low. So that's why we.
However, but now we seed our fudge, so we use a little fondant, and that way, as you're tasting it, it's a little grainy, but it's very smooth in the mouth, so it holds its shape, and that helps the flavor.
And actually, this one
That
stirred
helps
more,
distribute
so this
the
is
flavor
a little stiffer.
a little bit differently. But some people like a grainy fudge. I don't. I want a very smooth, rich fudge with a good butter and cream flavor. So we
So
use
see, the chocolate walnut's a little stiffer because he's stirred it more.
right.
Oh my God, the peanut
It's
butter.
even the agitation that will change the characteristics.
of the fudge.
Yeah. Yep.
Let me. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can feel
I'm
the.
gonna have a sugar high here.
This is so good. And then this one, I'd never heard of this before.
The panucci, it's traditional New England. I really hadn't heard about it before either. As a kid, my favorite was Rocky Road, which is just chocolate marshmallow and walnuts. And Dave he is prejudiced. He hates marshmallow.
I am marshmallow impaired. I just cannot make a good marshmallow. So Rocky Road's going to have to wait for another candy maker.
Yeah, and he's funny. He finally gave in, and I requested that he make chocolate marshmallows. And all of our chocolate has a fancy mark on it, and this is true with all candy makers. They have fancy marks so you can tell them apart. So since he never wanted to make marshmallows, when he did, he put a happy face on each one, and he's like, "Are you happy now?" Because I love chocolate marshmallows. He hates them.
Oh, that's funny. I'm going to try this one. It's like that, like maple leaf flavor.
You can taste it. It's like a little molasses. It has almost a maple leaf flavor. It is kind of like, old New England. They use a lot of brown sugar,
Well, my grandmother was French Canadian. She used to make the fudge growing up, and it had that maple taste to it. And I used to love when she made her homemade fudge. I loved it. It was so good. This reminds me of that.
Definitely.
And I love the pecans in it as well.
Yes.
And you also brought me some. What are these?
So this is our box of. I just brought caramels because you were asking before about what the most popular is, and it's these sea salt caramels. So, for instance, a milk chocolate sea salt caramel, super popular, and then our turtles, or you can't call them turtles; they're patties. But our nut patties are delicious.
I'm going to try that.
They're turtle-like. We can say they're turtle-like.
Oh, you can't call it. Yeah.
So
These look
so we
delicious.
thought. I wonder if it's going to be a little
Sticky,
sticky
that's okay.
in the summertime.
Yeah.
Yep.
The stickier, the better for me.
So what we do is he takes a funnel and he funnels with a funnel full of caramel. He puts that on top of the nuts, and then we go over it again with a pastry bag, and then we cover it with chocolate. So it's really it's a multiple step process. First, he has to make the caramel. He has to get the chocolate in temper, and then we layer this all out. And anyway, it's kind of interesting to do.
These are yummy.
And I know this is a lot for you to handle all in one day, but the other really popular thing that we do is our truffles. This is what got us into the business. What's your favorite flavor before you just grab one?
I don't know, just like anything with chocolate. So.
Dark or milk?
Dark.
Okay. And we have plain dark chocolate. This one here is probably our most popular.
Yeah.
And anyway, we were inspired by the movie Chocolat for that one. It's just very plain and simple.
Oh my God, thank you so much. So your website is what?
ChocolateDelicacy.com.
Yep, and you guys are in Warwick?
Warwick, Rhode Island, and we've been there for the last 7 years. We have plenty of parking, and people say our store is a lot bigger inside than it looks from the outside.
All right.
And when we say Warwick, we're really in the village of Apponaug,
Yeah.
and that's where people know us
Yeah.
from. And our phone number is 1-800-Mr. Wonka.
All right. All right, Marie and Dave Schaller with The Chocolate Delicacy. Thank you so much. Check them out. They'll make you go, mmm.